Okay, guys, we are live. Let's begin. So, hey everyone, I'm Harshal Jain, your mentor at Geeks4Geeks. And guys, in this video, we are going to start with the introduction of Route 53. Although we are not going to cover that much in Route 53 because this is a paid service, that means you would be purchasing domain inside that. And I my aim was to create a free AWS playlist. So I would say yeah, this playlist was completely free, totally free from beginning 1 year, totally everything is free. But if I talk about Route 53 service specifically, you have to purchase things here. Okay, so that's why I would be keeping it to introduction only, because I don't want to purchase any domain right now, and I don't any other person also right now any purchase any domain, because like we already purchased a domain using GoDaddy, right? I hope you watched my previous videos. You know that we purchased a domain named as harshaljain.in. So like it's like repeating the same thing again for just just for the service. Okay, so it's like we used GoDaddy service, right? We used the GoDaddy website where we had this domain, right? harshaljain.in. Okay, whatever was the name. So I'll just show you GoDaddy website, just a second. So same as it is, similar to this website, AWS has its own service named as Route 53. That's what I mean. Okay, so I think I am logged in. Just a second, let me just check. Here I would be, yeah, my products. And here guys, you can see that we already have a domain. Okay, similar to this GoDaddy, we are gonna get a domain in Route 53. We'll discuss about this later on after a few minutes. One thing which I want to cover today initially is, remember in the last video we tried to give internet access to the private VPC, right? We tried to give internet access to the private VPC and we were not able to give that. Why? Because we created a NAT gateway, right? We created a NAT gateway. So let me just go to AWS, and first of all, let's fix the last video's mistake. There's a small setting which I didn't do. Okay, I'll explain that. So remember we created a NAT gateway yesterday in the last class of VPC, right? NAT gateways. So here you can see that we created this gateway in the last class, right? So just copy the ID of this NAT. Okay, just copy the ID of this NAT. Okay, let me first of all show you. If I just go to EC2, I'll just go to private, I'll just go to public instance. From that we access the private instance. Okay, so let me just go here, and yeah, this was the this was the public instance inst2. I'll just click on connect. Okay, and guys, I'll just connect it with the console itself. This console, this is the public instance, right? From this we tried to access the private instance. Let's connect the private instance. So I'll just go to private instance. This is the private instance, and if you want to connect to this instance, you need the IP address. Okay, first of all, if I click on connect, and if I just type go to SSH client. Okay, this was the exact method which we used yesterday. Okay, so here if I just first of all type cd dot dot, okay, okay, I think I need to pick a root user, sudo flag I. Okay, then if I type cd dot dot, okay, then if I type ls, here you can see that this was the last videos thing which I created. Okay, so I'll simply type cd and I'll just paste this. Okay, I'm sorry, cd, and I'll just paste the directory name first. I'm sorry, I have to paste the directory name. Copy this and paste the directory name. Okay, now yeah, now inside this we have to paste the command. Okay, which command? This sshi. Okay, because in this directory if I type ls, you can see that we have the pem file. That's why we have to come inside this directory. Okay, this is the pem file for instance number 1. Right now this console is of instance number 2, so we're gonna go inside instance number 1 by simply pasting the command. Okay, now here you need to add the private IP, not the public IP. So private IP of this one, which is in the subnet also, you can see this was the private IP. Okay, so this is what we did in the last video, okay, itself. So now I am inside the instance number 1. So from instance number 2 I am accessing instance number 1. So now we can see that we are inside instance number 1. You can see the IP address of instance number 1. Okay, so now what was happening, we tried to connect to the internet, ping 8.8.8.8. Okay, so if you try to connect to internet, you can see that I'm not able to connect to internet. Why? Because there was a one setting remaining. Okay, so let's go to our NAT gateway. Just go to NAT gateway. One setting was remaining only. NAT gateway is created. You can see this NAT gateway was created in the last video, right? Siddharth, hi, good evening. Good evening, Siddharth. Okay, so you can see this was a NAT gateway which we created yesterday. Only one mistake which I did was I didn't allocate this NAT gateway to my subnet. Okay, so I'll just copy this one, and this NAT gateway is when you create a NAT gateway. Okay, let me just click on create. You can see when we create a NAT gateway, you allocate this to a subnet, but this subnet is connected to a route table, right? The private subnet. You can see that when I created the NAT gateway, when you create a NAT gateway, you join it with public subnet, right? It's always recommended join the NAT gateway with public subnet SN2. We did that in the last video. Okay, this NAT gateway GFG VPC NAT is connected to the public subnet. That must always be done. Okay, and this was done. Okay, we created this the NAT gateway yesterday. Today, right now, what we are going to do is we are just going to join this NAT gateway to the route table of private subnet. Okay, this NAT gateway is created for public subnet, but we also have to join this NAT gateway to the route table of private subnet. That's it. So route table, and here you can see that this is the private route table, right? Private route table. I'll just go inside this one and edit rules. You can see that this route table does not have any internet connection because this is the private route table. Here you just need to simply say that if any outside IP is given, just call this NAT gateway. I'm sorry, NAT gateway, and just add the IPs ID of the NAT. You can see this is the ID, right? Now if I click on save changes, you can see that now everything is done. I have given access. Now guys, if I go to my instance and if I type ping, you can see that now internet is working properly. Okay, that means now my private instance is also having the internet connection. That's it. That's the thing which was remaining in the last video, and now the VPC part is complete. Okay, so now guys, from today, and today is the last video itself of our AWS playlist, we are going to discuss about AWS Route 53 introduction only, because this is a service like GoDaddy. In GoDaddy we purchase domain, and we have here only we manage this domain, right? Similarly, AWS Route 53 is a service like GoDaddy is a service. Route 53 is a service which does the same thing, but it's for dedicated to AWS. Okay, it's dedicated to AWS, right? So definitely you would be getting more feature, and it's easier to use than if I talk about route than if I talk about GoDaddy, because yeah, it's dedicated to AWS. So if your whole application is in AWS, so you would find it way more easy, and you would get things very fast. Okay, because of Route 53. That's it. But yeah, the service which we used in GoDaddy, that means we purchased this domain name in GoDaddy, you have to do the same thing in Route 53. Okay, so first of all, let me explain the use of this Route 53, then we'll discuss more about this in AWS console. Okay, so first of all, what is Route 53? So Route 53 is a scalable and highly available domain name system. Okay, now what is domain name system? Domain name system, DNS. So remember, when you visit google.com, okay, when you visit google.com, okay, google.com, this google.com text is basically the domain name. This domain name is pointing to some IP address where this website is stored. Okay, right? Similarly, if I visit Amazon, so you can see we have amazon.in. This website is amazon.in is the domain name. This domain name is connected to some IP address. Okay, so when we create EC2 instance, you know that every EC2 instance gets the IP address, public IP, private IP, whatever IP, but you get the IP address, right? So what I'm trying to say is, we'll purchase a domain name like I purchased the domain name in GoDaddy in the previous videos, and you're gonna connect it to the IP address. That's it. Okay, that's it. That's what our Route 53 also does. Okay, we are simply going to go to Route 53. Okay, we are going to purchase a domain virajjain.com, and we are going to assign an EC2 instance or any other IP, any type of IP which I want for my application. Okay, suppose in this EC2 instance my backend is stored, so I would be using this IP, using this IP, and connect it to virajjain.com. Okay, so now whenever someone types virajjain.com, they would get the response from my EC2 instance. That's it. That's what is the purpose of Route 53. Okay, so I'll just write its definition here. First of all, yeah, Route 53. First of all, let's talk about DNS. Okay, so DNS, domain name system. What this is, what this says, it's like you are having some domain name like google.com, right? This is the domain name. It would be pointing to some IP. That means every domain, every domain name points to some IP address, some kind of location. IP address is what? A location, right? Similarly, you have amazon.com, amazon.in, facebook.com, facebook, instagram.com, like that. We have different domain names. They point to some specific location. Okay, amazon.com would be obviously pointing to Amazon servers, and different domain names point to different servers, right? Different IP addresses, right? So these are what domain names. These are what domain names, and they're gonna point to some IP, something like ABCD, 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 right? You can see that this is some random IP. Okay, this is the IP format. Okay, and similarly, this is also going to point to some IP, right? Uh, right, this is another type of IP. So you can see that it's very simple. This domain name is pointing to some IP. This domain name is pointing to some IP. Similarly, we have a very big collection of this domain name pointing to some IP, domain name pointing to some IP. This is a whole connection. Okay, a lot of domain names would be pointing to a lot of IPs, and this whole system is known as domain name system. Okay, domain name system. So domain name system, DNS, it's a hierarchical decentralized naming system used to translate human readable domain names like google.com into numerical in IP address. Okay, so domain name system simply does one thing. When you want to convert this name to an IP address, domain name system does that. Okay, that's it. Okay, so like whenever something happens, whenever you type google.com in your browser, it goes to DNS. DNS gives the IP address in return to us. Now our browser knows what's the location of google.com. That's it. Okay, you can just search for the IP, you'll get the IP also. What is IP of Google? So you would get the IP address. Okay, google.com. So you can see that you would get IP address of google.com. You would search more about this if I type amazon.com, amazon.com. So you would get it somewhere. Okay, you would get it somewhere. Okay, you can just search for Google and you can see that you would get the IP of amazon.com. Similarly, each domain name has the IP address. Okay, so overall, to convert this domain name to an IP address, we use DNS. That's it. Okay, that's what you want to know. Now similarly, we use this DNS sys service inside the route 53. Okay, so route 53, so route 53 is a scalable and highly available domain name system web service provided by AWS. In AWS, you can purchase a domain name. Okay, like google.com is a domain name, amazon.com is a domain name, facebook.com is a domain name. Similarly, I would be purchasing a domain name. Okay, what kind of domain name? So let me uh, just a second. Okay, so similarly, I would purchase, suppose, virajgen.com, VIRAJ, jen.com. Suppose I purchase this domain name, right? I purchase this domain name. So this is purchased by whom? This is purchased by me. Now, what I would simply say, this domain name would be connected to my EC2 instance. Suppose this EC2 instance, okay, this is the IP of EC2 instance. Okay, so I'm just going to copy the IP of this EC2 instance, and then I would simply say that this domain name would be connected to the IP of the EC2 instance. That's it. That's it, guys. So this is the job of Route 53. You are gonna purchase the domain name in Route 53, AWS Route 53, and then you're gonna connect it to any of the IP which you want, any of the location which you want. Either Route 53 would be going to the specific EC2 instance or the whole VPC, things like that. Okay, so if I talk about diagrams, what you're gonna do is, generally what happens is you're going to have a VPC, right? We talked about VPC in the last video. This is VPC, right? This is VPC. Now this VPC would be having a public subnet. This is, suppose, the public subnet, green. Okay, and suppose this is what? This is private subnet, suppose, red color. Okay, so what actually happen? Okay, what actually happens here, you're going to have your load balancer, right? Elastic load balancer. I'm just drawing a rough diagram. Okay, I'm just drawing a rough diagram like this one. So you're going to have a elastic load balancer, right? This load balancer is going to point to different private subnets. Okay, suppose one of the subnet is this subnet. Okay, right? This subnet, this private subnet, is having what? Is having what? An EC2 instance. EC2 instance. Instance. right? That's it. That's it. So you know that there would be multiple EC2 instances connected to this elastic load balancer. This elastic load balancer has an IP address, right? We talked about this when we were learning elastic load balancer. So what we are going to do is we are simply going to use AWS route 53 service. Okay, this service this service would be used before our load balancer. That's it. This service would be used before our load balancer. So this service would be having a domain name would be connected to this specific elastic load balancer. This elastic load balancer would be pointing to multiple EC2 instances. That's it. That's a rough diagram, but there can be more diagrams, different diagrams, and I have drawn the simplest diagram. Right now let's go to route 53 official console part, and I'll just go to AWS console. Here we have different services. I'll just type route 53. Okay, route 53. Yes, you can see that right now I don't have any domain name purchase, and I'm just going to show you how you can do things. Okay, I won't be purchasing it today because this is just an introduction video and we're gonna wrap up series today only. Okay, but if you want to know more about Route 53, you can watch different videos available on YouTube, how to purchase it and how to connect it to the IP address of your EC2 instance or elastic load balancer or whatever you want, whichever IP you want to connect. Okay, you can connect it with any IP address. Okay, so yeah, here you can see that here you have some options. When you talk about a domain, you can see either you can register a domain. Okay, you can just perform health checks, is everything working properly, are the requests going properly. Okay, or if you want to transfer your domain name from one part to another part, suppose I don't like virajjain.com, I want harshaljain.com, so I can do that. I can transfer domain also. Okay, then there are other services also, but mostly you would be using the register a domain and health checks and transfer domain. Mostly I use this one. And one more thing which you can use is traffic flow, but I usually do this with the help of elastic load balancer, but here also you can do the traffic flow. Okay, so first of all let's talk about the basic one, which is the only thing which we're going to talk about today. Register the name. Okay, so this would allow you to purchase a domain name. Okay, purchase a domain name. So it's like here you can just search for a domain name which you want to purchase. Okay, suppose I have already purchased harshal.harshaljain.in. Can I purchase the same domain name from other services like AWS? No, you cannot purchase that. Why? Because already you have purchased it with some other service. You have purchased it with GoDaddy. How you can purchase the same domain name? How can two people have same domain name? No, they cannot have same domain name. Okay, so if your domain name which you are requesting is already purchased, suppose someday like there is a big story, and what some guy did was like it was when internet was just starting, and the DNS system was also there. So what this guy did, he simply purchased google.com domain name. Okay, so and after, like, it's like this domain name expires in every few years, or like in 3 years or 1 years. Like my domain name would be expiring in 3 years. Okay, so suppose after 3 years I forgot to repurchase this one. I forgot to repurchase this one. So what would happen if any other guy purchases this domain name? And now I am a very big company. Okay, I'm a very big company like google.com. And if google.com domain name is purchased by somebody else, then it would be very difficult. Then I would have to give that person a lot of money, and then he would give me that domain name back. Okay, so this is a very big business actually. This is a very big business. Like some people actually purchase very famous companies domain names when they are not aware. Okay, and the domain names are not purchased again by the companies. So these random guys purchase the domain names and then they sell it for very high prices. Okay, so if you want to make career in this, you can make this. Okay, but yeah, it's like uh, kismat ki baat hai. Okay, it's like it's totally dependent on your luck. Okay, if you get the domain name of a very big company, you purchase it on time, and then they would be giving you lots of money to purchase it back. Okay, so this is a very good story. You can search more about this, how it happened. Okay, and now let's go back to route 53. Okay, so now I'm trying to purchase this domain name which is already purchased by someone in GoDaddy. Okay, let's try to search this one. So you can see that, guys, harshaljan.in is not available. Why? Because someone else purchased it from other service. It's not necessary that you have to purchase the same domain name from GoDaddy or from any service. Okay, you can purchase it from any other service also. Like it's like if I haven't purchased, if this domain name is not purchased from Route 53, it could have been purchased from other services also. Okay, so it's like you have to choose the unique, very unique domain name which is not purchased by any other. Or you can just go below, and here you can see that here are different prices. And now Amazon changed Harshal Jain to Harshal Gupta. Okay, but yeah, that's some suggestion. Or else what you can do is you can just type your own domain name. Okay, if you want to try, uh, let's try not amazon.com. If you just search about it, so yeah, it's like you can just search for different ones. You can see if I if I, let's search for this one, not amazon.com. Okay, so yeah, you can see that not amazon.io is available, but yeah, the price is too high. Not amazon.org is available, it's this one. So like there are different purposes also. What's the purpose of .com, .org, .tv, .net? Purpose of different these root names is very important to understand. You can just search what's the purpose of I, what's the purpose of .org, what's the purpose of .com, .in, .net. Please search about that also before purchasing any domain name. Okay, and usually if you are just a random guy like me, just a normal person, you can just go for .in or .com, that would be fine. Okay, and if you really don't care, you can go for the cheapest one, that's also fine. Okay, I have heard that there is a kind of domain name which ends with .xyz. It's like provided by alibaba.com. So from there also you can purchase it for very lesser price. So it's also price dependent also. IO would be expensive, ORG would be lesser expensive. So different types would be having different values also. Okay, so you have to look at that also and use the use the .com or .org, whatever extension which fits your company. Okay, so suppose you like this cheapest one. Okay, cheapest one, .net. Okay, so if I click on select, so you can see that now it would ask me $11. Okay, proceed to checkout. And duration, you can just select the durations for how many years. So this is something which is really great, and I think in GoDaddy they don't provide you more than 3 years. So in AWS Route 53 you can purchase a domain name for more than 3 years. You can go it for do it for 10 years, right? You can see you can do it for 10 years. So it's like you are safe for 10 years. Okay, so very good for websites who are going to be big giants in future, like google.com, right? Okay, so 1 year, and then you can click on simply next, and it would simply ask for your contact information. Then after that you can click on next. Okay, so right now I won't be showing you contact information, but yeah, you would be clicking on next, and after that this would be saved. Okay, then after that you have to simply add your card details, and then you have to purchase it. Okay, once you purchase it, then guys, you can simply search on YouTube how to connect this Route 53 to an EC2 instance IP address or to an elastic load balancer. You would find a lot of tutorials. Okay, but right now I'm not purchasing this domain name. Why? Because I have already purchased it in GoDaddy, and it's the same thing in repeat with using Route 53. Okay, so I don't want to do that. If you are still confused where I taught this one, so let me just show you in which tutorial I talked about this one. Just a second guys, I'll just open it on my browser. Okay guys, so basically this is the playlist, right? This is the AWS playlist, and I have talked about things from beginning. And uh, when I was talking about EC2 instance, okay, when I was talking about EC2 instance, can see that we had these two tutorials. Okay, so you can just read, you can just watch these two tutorials, and here I have talked about, I think I have talked about talked about GoDaddy here. So somewhere here in the EC2 part only. So you can just watch these ones, EC2 at least. And by the way, the whole playlist is available here. You can just check. Hi Karthik here. The whole playlist is available here, starting from basics like region, how to create a free AWS account for 1 year, and then after that, complete IAM, and then EC2 instance basics, then how to assign an EBS volume, and how to create snapshots, how to create AWS machine image, okay, how to make a load balancer, and how to use auto scaling groups, how to use AWS CLI, how to use S3 storage in AWS, how to use CloudFront, how to use VPC, and then at the end we talked about Route 53, right? So this is it guys. I hope you understood the basic usage of Route 53, and I haven't talked much about it today because it's a paid service, and like generally when you take any kind of certification in AWS or anything, you use the free stuff only. Okay, so this is enough for you all, and I hope you understood this session, and this ends our series. But if you feel there is any topic which needs to be taken in this AWS playlist series, you can definitely ask me in the comment section in any of the videos. And if you want to contact me, what you can do is you can just search on GitHub. My GitHub profile is github.com/viraj014. Okay, you can just visit my GitHub profile, and here guys you will have my social media handles. Okay, you'll have my Instagram, LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, so if you want to contact me, you can contact me from here. Okay, so that's it for today, and after this guys, we are gonna take some extra topics, like if I'll read the comments of previous videos. If there is any extra request, I'll be taking that. Okay, someone requested Docker deploy, right? So I'll be taking a session on that, and apart from that, I'll look in the comment section. If there is any other topic in any of the previous videos of the playlist or this video, then we are going to cover that also in the AWS part itself. Okay, and after ending this series, what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn about GraphQL. What's GraphQL? GraphQL is you might have learned about Node.js, right? I'm a MERN-stack developer, so I was teaching Node.js in this channel, Geeks4Geeks development channel. So we talked about Node.js, we talked about MongoDB Express. Now since nowadays companies use these services like GraphQL, so we're going to talk about GraphQL. We're going to take some sessions on GraphQL. I'll teach you what's exactly GraphQL. We're going to use that properly, and then after that we're going to make a full stack project, that means MERN stack project, using MongoDB, Express, React, Node.js, Next.js, GraphQL and Redux. Okay, so it's going to be a very big project but very fun project. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this session, and now we can end this session. And if you have any queries, you can comment below or you can contact me via my GitHub. Okay, so that's it for today. I will see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.